Hello, my name is Diamond, aka Lady Leo. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome back if you are a brand new viewer. I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to go straight into some Reddit / Am I the Asshole stories. We'll start with our first one. Am I the asshole for considering leaving my wife who cheated on me 15 years ago now that our kids are in college? This is an interesting one. So, my wife cheated on me 15 years ago. Her affair lasted a couple of weeks. I was really hurt at the time, but we also had twin daughters who were 3. And for me, my kids were my utmost priority, and I did not want them to struggle at all. So I decided to stay with my wife, who followed all the reconciliation steps. It took me a couple of years to regain my love for my wife after she spent a lot of effort to better herself and end our relationship. However, I had never forgotten the affair, and my wife cheating on me was always in the back of my mind. It's been 15 years now, and our marriage is not without its ups and downs, but we've also gone on vacations, do date nights often, and our relationship is still pretty romantic. Our daughters turned 18 a few months ago, and they are both in university now. I'm really proud of them and could not be happier. But now that they're both in college and that they're independent and entering adulthood, I've been seriously considering the possibility of divorce. As a parent, I think I've done my job and I have done my best to raise them in a loving home. I do love my wife, and if I ask her for a divorce, it will completely blindside her. I mean, will it? I mean, if you explain to her why. But I still haven't forgotten my wife cheating on me 15 years ago, and it will always be in the back of my mind as long as we're married. Would I be the asshole for considering divorce? I do not think you would be, because I think in this case, when you said that you regained your love for your wife, I don't think you ever really forgave her for it though, right? You just found a way to live with it, and you were doing that primarily for your children because your children were young. You didn't want your children to grow up in having to go to 2 separate parents' houses, and you decided that for you would do your best to kind of be as happy as you could be, but in your mind, you cannot let it go. And that's kind of what happens with cheating. I think it just permeates everything, but it goes down to the fundamentals of trust. And you said that she followed the reconciliation steps. I would be interested to know if the two of you ever went to therapy individually or together to also process what happened, if that was part of the steps. So no, I don't think you're the asshole for considering divorce, especially if you made the decision 15 years ago that you were going to stay for your children, but you still didn't really trust your wife. You know what I mean? And it wouldn't really be fair to you to continue to be married to her when you don't trust her, you don't forgive her. And I don't think you're the asshole for divorce. And again, I don't think it will blindside your wife if you explain to her, I never forgave you for what you did. Cheating on somebody is such a betrayal of trust. I can't say if I could forgive somebody and stay for children. I don't have children, so it's hard for me to envision what I would do in this scenario. But just knowing who I am as a person now, I don't think I could ever forgive you. I mean, you made a conscious decision to cheat on me, to lie to me about it, to give your time and your space to somebody else while we were in a relationship. So for me, I'm not forgiving you for that. I'm saying that I'm saying that for who I am as a person now too. So not in this scenario, but I just can't forgive somebody who cheats on you. And again, the only reason I ask about therapy is because therapy, I imagine, is really helpful to understanding why she cheated and what caused her to go down that route if you had an otherwise happy marriage. You know what I mean? So I don't think you would be the asshole if divorce is something you wanted. I think considering that you stayed for another 15 years, it would be good to maybe go to therapy or just at least have a conversation with your wife where you explain to her the thoughts and feelings that you didn't feel like you could express at the time and the reasons why you decided to stay, even though you didn't really trust her. So don't think you're the asshole. I'm just saying, before you decide to kind of pull the trigger on the divorce train, I before you decide to go down the divorce road, maybe just at least have a conversation with your wife explaining, this is where I'm at and I just don't know if you can change my mind. So no, I don't think you're the asshole. All right. Am I the asshole for refusing to go to my cousin's wedding because he still hasn't paid me back the money he owes me? Let's see. All right, so here's the deal. I, 31-year-old female, loaned my cousin Mike, 34-year-old male, $5,000 a few years back. So definitely not a small sum of money. He was really in a tough spot, and since we've always been pretty close, I didn't hesitate to help him out. He promised that he'd pay me back as soon as possible. As soon as he could, and I trusted him. I mean, he's family, right? Listen, when it comes to loaning money, you either give it to people or you don't. I wouldn't really loan it to family because it depends on the family member, but most people don't pay it back. Anyway, well, fast forward to today, and guess what? Not a single cent has come my way. You said a few years back. Okay. Every time I bring it up, it's always the same story. I'll pay you back next month, or I've been having a rough time. I try to be understanding, but it's been years of this crap, and I'm seriously over it. This is why if you're going to give family members money, you either just have to decide to give it to them or not, for this very reason, right? Like, it's been a few years, he hasn't paid you back, and he's not going to. Anyway, here's where things get even worse. Mike is getting married next month, and this isn't some small family thing. No, it's a full-blown, ridiculously expensive wedding. Like, we're talking luxury everything. Fancy venue, over-the-top decor, expensive clothes, and apparently they're even flying somewhere exotic for the honeymoon. It's insane how much they're spending, and all I can think is, how can you afford all this but not pay me back what you owe? Because he doesn't want to pay you back. He doesn't think he has to. I tried to talk to my parents about this, and they're just saying I'm being selfish and need to let it go because it's his special day and family is more important than money. I hate when people do this. Like, I hate when people say this. I hate when people are just like, okay, your feelings aren't valid because it's family and it's his special day. His day has nothing to do with the fact that you gave him money when he needed it years ago. He has had years to pay you back, and he has chosen not to. And now when he's getting married, he suddenly has all this money to have a crazy wedding, but somehow you're the one who's being an asshole by asking for that money back. I hate when people do that. This just makes me really mad. Family is more important than money. It's not about money. Like, okay, to a certain extent, it is about the money, but realistically, it's about the principle of it. I gave you something when you needed it, and you've had a chance to pay me back. And if we're as close as you say we are, why can't you give me that money back? Is it not important for you to make me whole? And that's the truth of it. Mike doesn't care about making you whole. So they're really pressuring me to go, even though I feel like I'm completely disrespected here. I mean, how am I supposed to sit there and watch him spend thousands on his wedding while I'm still out $5,000 that I needed back? Wait, you needed it back? Okay, that's another thing. Do not loan money that you can't afford to lose, right? You giving $5,000 is a lot of money, first off. And if that's money that you needed back, you cannot just give it away if you don't have it to give it away. You know what I mean? Like, if it's disposable income from you and you'll be okay if you don't get it back, that's one thing. But if you need it back, then you can't really afford to lend it out though, right? All right, let me go to the next page. When I confronted Mike, he just brushed it off like it wasn't a big deal and gave me the usual, I'll pay you back soon. It's like he doesn't even care how much he screwed me over. So now I'm stuck. I don't want to cause drama and be the one ruining the wedding, but I also don't think it's fair that I'm supposed to just smile and pretend like everything's fine. I feel like if I go, I'm basically saying it's okay for him to treat me like this and not. But now I'm wondering if I'm being too petty about the whole thing. Like, should I just stick it out and go for the sake of the family? Or do I have the right to be angry and skip? My parents are making me feel like I'm the bad guys here, but I feel like I've been patient long enough. Am I the asshole for not wanting to go to the wedding? Okay. No, I don't think you're the asshole for not wanting to go to the wedding. I disagree with your parents. I don't think you're the bad guy. And the fact that they don't see that is crazy to me. I wonder if they would feel differently if it was their money and they needed it back. So a couple of things here. It sounds like you couldn't afford to lend out that money, or maybe you were anticipating getting it back. But like, to me, if you can't afford to lose it, you can't lend it out. Second of all, I wouldn't lend money to family members at all. You either give them the money or you don't give them the money, because people don't pay you. On the line of people who don't pay you back, family is usually at the top. Not saying that everybody is like that. I'm just saying family usually feels like they don't have to pay you back because you're family. And that's why I would give them the money and say, you're not getting any more money from me because you don't respect me enough to give it back. Anyway, I think you have to make a choice here, right? Because you are, sorry, let me say this. You're right to feel angry. I would feel angry. I would feel upset. $5,000 is a lot of money. However, this is going to alienate you from the rest of your family indefinitely? Is that worth it for you? And that's not me saying that you'd be right or wrong. I'm just saying, if it's your parents and if it's the rest of your family, is that worth it? This could also be a lesson that you learn, a very expensive lesson, which is you're never you're never going to be loaning out money to family again, too. So I don't think you're the asshole for not going to the wedding. I just think you have to make a decision about what's the most important thing for you at the moment. Is it sticking to your principles and potentially losing your connection with the rest of your family, letting it go and just knowing that like you're never going to give money to family again? I'm not saying it's an easy choice. I'm just saying that those are kind of the options I would go with. I think the petty in me would be like, frack you, and I'm not going. You can't even pay me back. Because I do feel like you've built up a lot of you've built up a lot of resentment around it, which is warranted. I think you're completely entitled to that. I just don't know if that's worth losing your relationship with your family over. And again, that's not me saying that you're the bad guy. I don't think you are. Sometimes we have to be the bigger person, even if we haven't done anything wrong. You know what I mean? Like, it's not fair, but sometimes it really does come down to a decision of being the bigger person for the bigger picture. And realistically, you're never getting your money back from Mike. It's not going to happen. And if you can accept that and understand that and just know that you're never going to loan him money again, I mean, you can go to the wedding or you cannot go to the wedding. Like, what are the repercussions if you don't go to the wedding? Does your family excommunicate you? Because if so, that's a pretty high price to pay. But yeah, I don't think you're the asshole for not wanting to go to the wedding. I do think you need to be honest with yourself and understand that it doesn't matter how many times you ask Mike for the money, you're not getting it back, because he doesn't feel like he has to pay you back. He could pay you back. If he can pay for an elaborate wedding and a honeymoon, he could pay you back. He just doesn't think he needs to. So, frack Mike. All right, not the asshole. Next story. All right, this one is short. All right, what do we got here? 18 and 20-year-olds, man. All right. I am 20-year-old male dating a 18-year-old female. We had a huge argument. Do I break up with her? Wow. Okay. Going straight to the breakup. Okay. Today we had the most heated argument that we've ever had. And during the argument, she told me she will never respect me because I'm not going to school. I'm not going to school. I started in November and she knows this. Okay. I haven't canceled my card yet. Different topic entirely, but my closest bank was hours away and we weren't home. She even told me that we can never be equals. I honestly don't know what to do. Started crying in the car and she told me to stop crying. I didn't even say anything mean, just the truth. Do I break up with her? I'm just scared because we work together. Okay. This is really short, so obviously I think there's a lot of stuff being left out of here. Couple things. I personally would never work with somebody that I would never date somebody that I work with. It doesn't usually work out well unless you end up working in different areas where you're not physically working together. So it's probably one of those situations where it's a lesson that you're going to learn, because dating people you work with, when you break up, it doesn't usually go well. I don't really know what you mean. You said you had a heated argument. There's nothing in here that establishes how long you guys have been dating. I mean, you're pretty young, so I'm going to say maybe not that long. I don't know. When you're younger, you don't know what you don't know. I don't know if my mind would go straight to breaking up with somebody if we had an argument. It really depends on the other context of like how your relationship is going. Like, how long have you been together? Is this a good relationship? Is this a relationship you want to pursue? And It sounds like you guys have some communication issues going on, and I don't know. There's not really enough here for me to be able to like tell you the best thing to do. I don't really I think, sorry, I was going to say that I don't believe in breaking up with somebody. It really depends on the situation though. So like if breaking up with her is like the best thing for you, like the best thing for your mental health, the best thing for just in general, that's fine. But it sounds like you're scared because you work together. I mean, can you not get another job? You can get another job, right? And if you're scared you work together, is she a supervisor or something like that? She says she's 18. It doesn't mean she can't be your supervisor, but like you work together, but does that mean that that would affect your ability to work, like do your job? I don't know. Yeah, a couple things. Don't date people you work with, and just, I don't know, have a conversation with her like outside of this moment, because sometimes when you're very heated, it can be really difficult to have an objective conversation. So if it's a relationship you want to pursue, maybe like having a more in-depth conversation. If not, then yes, break up with her. You don't need to stay with somebody if you're not happy. All right, that's my 2 cents. Next one. I picked a few short ones here, so that's good. All right, my 27-year-old friend, 27-year-old. Okay, so I'm a 27-year-old female. My 27-year-old female friend of 15 years told me she cheated on her husband, and now I'm questioning if I should continue our friendship. Let me just get one of my flags. Red flag. All right, anyway. So my friend casually brought up that she's been cheating on her husband. They've been married just 6 months by sexting and attempting to have sex with another guy. Not only does she sound not remorseful about it, she seems disappointed that the sex hasn't happened yet. Your friend is trash. She doesn't seem to view this as cheating, as they've only been sexting so far, and although despite attempts to have sex with him, it hasn't happened yet. I'm shocked at the casualness of her explaining this as if it was exciting. I've been best friends. I was in her bridal party with her for the last 15 years, and I never realized she was such a narcissistic person capable of betraying the one person she claims to love. It makes me wonder, if you can lie and hurt your partner, what can you do just to be a friend? What can you do to just a friend? I guess I'm having a hard time believing that you've been friends with her for 15 years, and this is the first time you're seeing what you call narcissistic. I mean, I don't know enough about her to say she's a narcissist, but you've been friends with 15 years, so I have a feeling there's probably you've probably had some like yellow flags over the years. Maybe you've just ignored them, or maybe this is the first time she's been blatant with you about something. So yeah, I mean, I'm just having a hard time believing like this is the first time she's done some effed up stuff, you know what I mean? Because people anybody who's been married for 6 months and can just sext somebody else and not think of it as like cheating, to me, that's questionable morals. And that's not something that started overnight. That's something that's always existed. So it might be a situation where you've just ignored some of those yellow flags over the years. Should you continue your friendship? I mean, if it goes against your morals for yourself, and if you have a problem with it, yeah, I wouldn't continue my friendship with her. And if I'm being honest with you, I would tell her husband. I mean, your friend is trash. She's married. She doesn't see sexting with another guy as cheating. It's an emotional form of cheating, and she's still attempting to have sex. I don't really understand people who cheat, because I don't have the energy to sit here and carry on a relationship, a secondary relationship, and then keep those two things apart. That's just so much effort, and I'm just not gonna do it. But people who are cheaters like this, yeah, she's probably done it before as well. So like, yeah, if I were you, if this goes against your morals, and it sounds like it does because you're making a Reddit post, I wouldn't really be friends with her, and I would tell her husband. I sure wouldn't feel any type of way about it either. That's on her. I mean, she's sitting over here cheating on her husband of 6 months. If I were her, I said you should tell her husband so he can get out now before they have a kid. That's what I would do. So should you continue your friendship? I feel like you already know the answer to that. You don't want to be her friend anymore. You just want somebody to tell you it's okay not to be her friend anymore. It's okay to cut people off. I know you've known her for 15 years, but that doesn't mean people are good people. It just means that you put up with her bullshit for a long time. So yeah, I would cut her off. All right, last one I'm going to do for this video. So I'm going to put the thing so it doesn't. So my boyfriend to 22-year-old male is great, but I, 20-year-old female, have developed a crush on another guy. Need advice. Okay, this is a bit embarrassing and I feel some shame talking about it. Me, 20-year-old female, and my boyfriend, 22-year-old male, have been dating for a year and a half now, and things have been going good so far. We've had the regular ups and downs with miscommunication, and him being a bit dry when it comes to feelings, but he's a really nice guy, supportive, and I can tell he loves me as I do too. Recently, however, I have started to develop a little crush on another guy I've known for a few years. We've texted a couple times, and I found myself finding him very attractive, which has never happened before while being in this relationship with my boyfriend. I don't know what to do about the situation because a part of me feels this curiosity to explore what could be, but I feel bad about my boyfriend, obviously. We're both young, and I obviously don't know if we're going to be lifelong partners, but I'm scared to ruin what we have, but also want to explore this potentially. I don't know, I'm so confused. Also, I might be moving abroad in some months, so I would not be living in the same city as my boyfriend anymore, and this has put a new pressure on me to consider if the relationship can withstand that distance. Any thoughts or advice would be greatly appreciated. Okay, yes, you're both very young. And I think in general, it's sort of natural to see somebody and be attracted to them. There's a difference between being attracted to somebody and like acting on that attraction though. I think what you have to ask yourself is maybe something simple like writing down the pros and cons about your relationship, right? Because you said you're about to go abroad and that's going to make your relationship long distance. So can your relationship survive that? It depends. It really depends on the amount of effort you and them are willing to put into it. But also, it seems like you're getting to a point where you're trying to figure out whether or not this relationship is something you want to pursue. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think you need to be honest with your boyfriend and yourself and yourself about what you want. And maybe you want to play the field. Like maybe you want to just see what else is out there. I also don't think that's wrong. We don't know what we don't know, right? And if this was like your first boyfriend, you don't have anything to compare it to. I think what I would do is just make sure you don't go down this rabbit hole where you're pursuing something with this other person that you're attracted to while you're still in a relationship with your boyfriend, because from your own words, he's a good guy and you don't want to lose him. You need to be honest with him. And if you want to pursue something else, you need to tell him that so that you can get out of the relationship. It sounds like you kind of already have one foot out the door. And you're young, so you don't have to stay with somebody indefinitely, especially if you have all these reasons why you want to go with someone else or just be single. So yeah, maybe just write down a pros and cons list or have a conversation about what dating overseas is going to look like. Sorry, not overseas, but wait, did you say you were going overseas or did you say you were just going to live in a different city? We said abroad, so I'm assuming that's overseas. So yeah, maybe have a conversation about that. I would say if you do want to get out of this relationship, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I would just make sure you do it in the right way, the way that you would want somebody to do it for you. It may blindside your boyfriend, especially if he's like, we have a good relationship. Yeah, but as somebody who I've been in a couple situationships and I was in a very long-term relationship for the bulk of my 20s. I should have got out of that relationship much sooner than I did, but there was a lot of reasons why I didn't. And I don't want you to end up in this situation where you're with somebody for 5 or 6 years and you wanted to leave a while ago. Somebody being a good person is not a reason why you need to stay in the relationship, right? Like you have to want to be with that person. So yeah, think about all of those things and just make the best choice for you. What do you want? If you want to date other people, say you want to date other people. You just don't want to be in a relationship. But just make sure they understand it's not because they did anything wrong. It's just because you want to pursue other things. All right, that's my 2 cents on that. Those are all the ones I'm going to do in this episode. Like, comment, subscribe. That's my time. Bye. Later.